random rants. Okay. You know what I like about history? History is poetic. It really is. Because history is something you can't go back and change. History is something that when you study it, you know it. Now, if you're a connoisseur of history,
it is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I love history. There's something you have to remember about the past.
Well, here.
Here's what C.S. Lewis splits it up into Mere Christianity. No, even in Screwtape Letters.
Yeah, he does.
He explains it that the present is the only, not the only real thing, but it's the only thing that we should be concentrating on. It's the only thing that's it's the closest thing to reality. The future, we shouldn't even have our eyes on the future because the future has no part of reality. All right, it hasn't even happened yet. And then there's the past, which has happened. It's something that's happened, but it's gone. It's no longer a part of reality.
What I'm saying is the same thing that historians have said and leaders have said. If you do not know history, you are condemned to repeat it.
Yeah.
Example, Hitler, the Russians. Hitler went into there in the winter, seized Stalingrad for 900 days. The Russians thought, it's getting ready to snow. Let's move back and let them capture Stalingrad to make them come back into the snow. So he repeated the same thing Napoleon Bonaparte did because he didn't know it. So yes, I do agree with C.S. Lewis where we should focus on now.
But I enjoy that you haven't started to be in the present because you used to always be a future kind of guy.
But what I'm saying is, history is probably the most beautiful of the subjects because if you think about it, science has history in it. English has history in it. Literature has history in it. The reason science has history in it with what's his name? Einstein, Newton. That was history. You know, one day, he sat on a tree and an apple fell on his head. It happened. It's history.
Actually, it didn't happen that way. He actually saw an apple fall from a tree.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things that happens every year as a song being told it happens. It's a slight change.
Literature, the Odyssey, the Iliad. It's not history. It's not true history. But what it is it's literary history.
It's the explanation.
It's the mythology.
Yeah.
So it's history. That's why I love history because.
But history isn't the center.
No, it's not the center of thinking. But what I'm saying is, history.
It might be the center of literary ideas.
Yeah,
but not
history is so broad that when given the knowledge of history, the critical thinking, the study skills, the researching, when given that, you are given a key pretty much to other subjects like literature, mythology. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, Audra? You have anything to say in this?
I think history is good. I love history.
You guys are pretty much saying everything. So.
Well, just jump in whenever.
What is room? There are a lot of things that due to historical evidence that we can find as true. Like we can find that there was a person named...
Yeah, Jesus. What I'm saying
I was going to say Jesus. I was actually going to say Saint Aristotle. Not Saint Aristotle.
Okay.
I say Aristotle. Saint Augustine and such.
What I'm saying is, atheists will acknowledge that Jesus was a guy. He was a historical figure. But what they won't acknowledge, the Jews will too. What they won't acknowledge is that he was, the son of Christ, right? But with history, we actually know there's a Jesus Christ.
Son of Christ.
Okay, son of God. My bad. No. You see what I'm trying to say, though? Without history, there would be more arguments for the atheism. Atheists would be more lost in the argument.
I love history. I'm not going to debate against history. I completely agree with you. As a matter of fact, C.S. Lewis, this kind of comes off a little bit from something you just said. They don't agree with it. Atheists or Jews, they don't agree. They say that he was, a lot of times they'll say that, especially in Judaism, that he was a good moral teacher.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis covers it in Mere Christianity. That is a foolish statement. He did not leave any room. And if you study Scripture, you find out he did not leave any room for the idea of him just being a good moral teacher. He's either a lunatic worthy of a loony bin, or to exactly who he claimed to be, Son of God.
There was Left Behind. We were talking about Left Behind. You guys remember that? We were talking about the Left Behind series. The guy, in the first one, his name was Tribulation Force. I can't remember his name. He was the pastor.
Kenneth?
Not Kenneth. He was the one that was studying it, and Nikolai wanted to make him say that he was the Son of God, and he was the prodigal son. But what he said is the only person that fits the prophecy, Tyson. The only person in history that ever fits and come close to the prophecies is Jesus Christ itself.
Exactly.
That was written history. The Bible is written history.
Exactly. That's one of the many things that Scripture is. That's one of the many things the Bible is. It's written manuscripts. In fact, many times we get into debates about Scripture, even Christian theologians will tell you to look at it as if it's a history book.
Yeah. It's
because that's what it is.
You know what?
Written down history.
We look at it
as well as being of Christianity.
And counterparts. We look at it as a history book, Christians, right? And sometimes people who are just lost will look at it and think that's probably the closest we have. But what I'm saying is atheists and agnostics and stuff like that, they'll look at the Bible as a piece of literature, like something like the Quran. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
even the Quran, in a sense, is a form of historical document.
Like culture-wise, it is.
Yes. But you have to understand the slight differences. And that is the historical evidence and the non-contradictory statements within the Bible. Maybe we'll say that the Bible has contradictions here or there, but what you'll find is that you're either misinterpreting, taking out of context, or it's a slight error.
Yeah.
What? Well, no. This is what I'm get down to. Let me stop chewing my sweet tarts. So, right.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. The Bible, everybody knows a passage. One passage from the Bible, at least, and you know which one it is. It's either the Golden Rule or John 3:16.
Not everyone knows it, sadly, but yeah.
Pretty close. I'm saying that's
a lot
good.
Of people do.
If you want to average, it's
a lot of people haven't even heard of Jesus. You're like, who's Jesus?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying most of the people who are of age and who have been introduced a little bit, they'll know one of them two passages of the Bible, true or false. They might not know,
I can't give any too much, but I do know that there's some that don't. That's all I can give.
What I'm trying to prove there is they'll know the easy passages of the Bible because most Christians or most I don't want to say false Christians, but most slave Christians will know John 3:16 in the Golden Rule, right? So when you say that, they won't know the complicated verses, but in Sunday school they'll learn John 3:16, get $1 or something. But they won't take the time to learn Proverbs or Psalms.
Yeah. So this is what I want to put out. Scripture in itself is historical.
Okay.
First, it's prophetical, poetical, philosophical, theological, and has even some scientific evidence for it.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the historical. We have plenty of historical evidence for the Scripture. Matter of fact, there's even more copies of Scripture that we'll find the New Testament and Old Testament in the Bible.
14.
Than any other. As a matter of fact, the Bible has more than anything else to show it